Guys, in 2024, I think we have to normalize not treating employees or anybody of any service industry like we are above them. Because, like, for instance, my new patient of the year, I was very excited to get a new patient. I got my pay bumped, I got more hours. This is all because this patient was difficult. Now, on day one, which I should have reported to my boss, and I think I forgot to mention in my previous video, and I don't even remember if I ever told my boss the day that I walked out, which was day 3 on this woman. But day one, she called me a house nigger. She's a dark-skinned black lady. And so basically what that is the light-skinned slaves who were probably a product of a master SAing a slave, and her getting pregnant and having someone my complexion. But a lot of dark-skinned people call us that because we were the ones who were allowed to work in the house. We had to do the cooking, cleaning, childcare, so on and so forth, and possibly even continue to be SA'd back during slavery times. So that's where that term comes from. But in any industry, I'm not even speaking specifically about me because I'm seeing this a lot everywhere. One is bad customer service, not even just for bad customers. But since COVID, I've noticed like a lot of companies are hiring physical workers again. And these workers feel like they're not going to be fired or they just don't like their job. So they're just nasty because they may not receive any repercussions. But also, there are just some people who come in and they feel like because you're paying for a service in some way, shape, or form, they can treat you any kind of way. How dare you treat someone bad who you need or are asking help from, whether you're paying them or not? Now, if someone's simply not doing their job, if you're at a restaurant, for instance, hey, I need to speak to a manager. Hey, can I get a different server? Someone who's, in a better mood or has a better attitude? Solve it right then and there. Don't continue to deal with the person, go back and forth with them, disrespect them, because a lot of times, like in the server industry specifically, they're not just going to come to your table and be rude to you knowing that they pretty much live off tips. They're getting probably like $2.55 an hour, $2.55 an hour. And so their basic money that they're really taking home is off of tips. Because like in an 8-hour shift after taxes, you're probably getting like $50 a day. I'm sorry, $15 a day after taxes. So a lot of times you're getting 50, 100 or more in tips. So yeah, like you can't mistreat people who are fixing your food or who are bringing your food and your drinks out to you and expect the greatest service ever. Now, a lot of people are very nice, like me. After she called me that, I tried to let it roll off my back. I tried to put it out of my mind, and I continued to provide her the best service, which is what made her feel like she could treat me like a doormat, I believe, because I didn't correct her immediately or walk out and call my boss immediately. So she just kept feeling like she could mistreat me. And I'm not going for it because I go above and beyond for people. I am too kind. And I told her this before. I said, I'm too kind. I'm too nice. I'm too helpful. I go above and beyond for people. For anybody to think that they can talk to me or mistreat me like that. And I told her plenty of times, you can communicate with me respectfully. And I have no problem helping you with whatever you need help with. But I will not accept disrespect. I'm not a mind reader, so on and so forth. So there are people who are going into restaurants like 15, 20 minutes before they close with a party of people. They don't want to take anything to go. They want to sit down and eat because they're paying customers. You getting off work on time does not matter to them. Them closing their restaurant does not matter to them. Just take their money. And it's bad for people who feel opposite. Like, I'm not giving you, like, it should be about more than money. It should be about caring for people. It should be about being a kind person, so on and so forth. I don't want to give you your money if you don't want me there, or I don't want to be like, oh, well, just do this for money, even though you don't care to do it. That's not me. That's not my personality. That's not the way I think. And I don't think anybody should think that way. If somebody doesn't want to do something for any reason, whether it be because they're not in a good mood, because if you don't like your job, you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't. I understand we all have to go to work every day. We have bills to pay, so on and so forth. But that does not give you license to go to a job and half do it when you've already agreed to doing this job. Now, let's say if a manager is asking you to do something that is out of your job description, I can totally understand. But you still have to handle that with respect as well. As they also should not be coming to you unless they just like, hey, I understand this is not in your job description, but are you willing to help with this? And I don't think you should get in trouble if you're saying no, because you're not paying me for that. Whatever the case may be. So I just think we should normalize being good people, being decent people when we walk out the door. No matter where it is we're going, whether we're going to work, whether we're going to go out to eat, we have to normalize being decent people. Otherwise, we can't get mad because people disrespect us. If you work at a restaurant or you own a restaurant or you manage a restaurant, whatever the case may be, I don't care if you're the janitor. Just go in with a good attitude. I had my dream job, but it is no longer my dream job. They are ruining it for me. But as long as I'm being respected, even when I'm being disrespected, the best thing I can do for you, like even the lady I walked out on, I said to her numerous times, I'm going to finish doing this. I'm going to go home. I'll come back when you are in a better mood. I gave her a chance. And then at some point, she was just unwilling to be cooperative and respectful. And then she, no, you're going to do this. I said, no, ma'am, I'm going to finish this. Oh, well, you can go. I grabbed my coat immediately. Because even prior to that, I was giving her, like, okay, I understand. I apologize. I forgot this. It was only my second day. We had done so much that morning. I just simply forgot. She's like, oh, well, I told you this. No, you didn't, because you stopped responding to me. And like my previous patient who I went back to on Friday, because had I known that her new caregiver wasn't working out, I would have just said, hey, send me back to her, because they switched me without talking to myself and my previous client beforehand. Otherwise, she would have told them, no, I don't want somebody else, but she did tell them. But it was, like, what are we going to do? But had I known it was not working out with her new caregiver, I would have just said, hey, send me back to her. But at the same time, I don't want to be manipulated, because it's hard for me to say no to her, and I have to make sure I take care of myself too, but I don't want her to go without. But there are some situations where now that I'm looking back on them, I can see I was manipulated and that she might use that to her advantage in the future. But she did call. I wasn't able to do something for her, and then she got a nasty attitude. But the next day, and I believe it was the same day I walked on, or no, it was the day before I walked out on the new client. She called me and she apologized. She actually has dementia. So I'm going to deal with her BS, because it's not every day, it's not every hour. And there was maybe only one time where I had to walk out on her because it was too much for me. And I worked with her for months. But this other lady does not have those same issues. She just feels like she's above someone, which is why she can't keep help. But no matter, like, let's call everybody the help, right? Every employee, everyone who's getting paid to do a job. Let's just categorize it for a moment. I'm not saying you go in public and call them the help, because it's disrespectful. But just look at it this way. If you need someone to do, or if you're paying someone to do something for you, I don't care if you hired a private contractor to build your house. Don't go and mistreat that person. Now, if that person's not doing their job, you have a right to confront them like, hey, I need it. You have to approach people with respect. Now, if it's 2-3 times and you keep telling them the same thing and they're just not cooperating, At this point, I feel like at this point in life, we just have to let go of things. I don't mean let them just do what they want. I mean, just say, look, I'm going to hire somebody different. I need you to give me my money back, or, whatever the case may be. If those are not options, then I do fully expect for you to be angry at some point when you keep having to confront people that are working for you about the same or similar things. Like, hey, we've already had this discussion multiple times, and you seem to not be getting the message, or you just think you're going to do what you want to do. That's not okay. Some people do have issues holding their temper when they're trying to be polite or when they would prefer to be polite, but then some people just don't care. So I think this year we need to maintain self-control. We need to just be humans, understand that humans make mistakes, understand that we still have to approach people, even if they offend us. Say, hey, that offended me. That hurt my feelings, whether it's a friend, a boyfriend, mom, dad, sister, brother. That offended me. That hurt my feelings. Like, I don't like when you say this or that to me. I don't like when you do this or that. And with those types of situations, once you set your boundary, you've set your boundary. And at the end of the day, when people don't respect your boundaries, you have to cut them off. Like, let's say it's a boss, for example. They're always asking you to do something that's not in your job description. You have to, what you do is you send them a text message, an email, or something in writing, letting them know you're uncomfortable when you've already had a verbal conversation with them more than once. Or even if you've had it once, you have the right to send an email, text, have it in writing, have your documentation so that you are not penalized. And if you are penalized, then you are able to possibly take action in certain situations or take further steps. Go to corporate, go to whoever's above that person. But don't try your best if you have the options not to stay in a situation where you don't have to be uncomfortable. Even with family, I am alone and I have had to be homeless and I have had to just struggle all my life because my family, my biological family, they're just dysfunctional people. And that is not good for my life. And I had to learn that these things were not okay. They're not my fault. And I am not at fault for not allowing people to do certain things to me or say certain things to me or treat me a certain way. So I had to cut it out of my life because I don't have to deal with it. Especially as an adult, I don't have to deal with it. With that comes the fact that I have to do things on my own, that I can't ask them for help because I don't want to involve them in my life and be treated a certain way. And we have to make those decisions. Like I told someone else the other day, I'm alone, I'm single, I have nobody to talk to. I am willing to struggle and take that stress over not having my peace, not loving myself, not feeling good about myself, not waking up happy, always just devastated. At least I'm able to wake up happy some days. At least I'm able to do things within my own time in my own house. I don't have to deal with all the BS. Even when I was out on the streets, I was like, at least these are strangers out here mistreating me and not the people who are supposed to love me. Period. It's just that simple. If they love you, they're going to treat you with love. Period. They're not going to make you feel like you have to go and do things your own way because they can't love and respect you the proper way. And you have to make these decisions as an adult. And for children, you might need to seek some therapy because these situations can get bad.